anchors and everything in national channels.
Right.
Or because somehow when they clicked with me, they thought that they would be good journalists. They would be better off in media. I think what you said, how to polish them, how to get the best, get best out of themselves.
Right.
That's extremely important, that when you knock at the door of a media house, you are fully equipped to tell them that what I can do. Today in all interviews and all interactions for professions, it's not important what degree you have. It is important when they ask you what you can do, you tell them. Ye kar sakta hun. How you will do it, you will tell them how can I do it. That's extremely important. You will develop that only when you have a fairly good idea of your surroundings, of things happening around you, and of all pros and cons. So there are issues.
You have to be updated with the issue.
Another thing is that मैं तो ऐसे ही करता हूँ. Doesn't work in media. ये तो मेरा ही style है. No, it doesn't.
Arrogance won't work.
And you have to keep on changing that and accept that. Be flexible, but have self-esteem. I tell everybody in every profession, the people and youth I meet, have self-esteem. That means मैं ये चीज़ कर सकता हूँ, and if you challenge me, I can deliver.
Right.
Don't say I was wrong. So
you should have confidence and urge of doing work.
Exactly, and you have your own respect. Respect yourself first. If you start disrespecting yourself, you will lose confidence, and others won't respect you at all. Definitely, they will not respect you. Your own respect is extremely important. Because I have had many, I can't say arguments in many sessions where public meeting. I also speak. Professors or teachers also speak. Esteemed, very well qualified, more than me.
The trouble discussions on it.
Yeah, the trouble is when they get to the stage or the class, they tell students, "I am a student of this subject, and just I am going to tell you as a student. If he is a student of the subject, he should sit with the students."
Right.
He doesn't have a place on the podium. No. You should have an ability to tell people on this subject, I can tell you something.
You should have the authority.
Right. The special things I can tell you on this subject. You may have something to add, others may have, but I know this is also right and I have the authority.
Don't mingle it with humility. That's
right.
Something else.
Absolutely right. Because the class also loses confidence in you.
Right. So with the onslaught of television that we had, the boom of satellite television in early 90s, it influenced the radio broadcasting as well. Tell me the kind of innovations that you brought in light of Dhadkan. It's a very popular program among youth in Kashmir. Tell me the kind of innovations that are to be made and that were made in your presence there in Radio Kashmir. Sir.
You know what happened when I came to radio in 91 through UPSC. The trouble was Kashmir was turmoil torn.
Right.
Many people had left, and many professionals from radio also had left, and others had stopped coming to radio. But radio had to go on for 20-25 hours, 3-4 channels for 42 hours in a day of Radio Kashmir.
There was a huge chunk that need to be filled.
Right. And in spite of people not coming there, it was not that they were not listening to us. They were still listening to us. So you have to deliver something.
Right.
And at that time, we took some risks. We started doing program in a rather different way. Firstly, I would say about myself, I became informal in my presentations. It was registered very hard by my colleagues, my seniors, extremely hard. They said, you are bringing down radio because you are talking as if you are talking to anybody at home, a friend. But it clicked with public. Now everybody does that. And then came music. We started introducing music into spoken word, which was done only in special programs, not usually. Not in an interview, you could not expect to ask the guest, आप दो गाने सुनेंगे, बताइए कौन से हैं. पहले एक सुनेंगे, बाद में. यह सवाल ही नहीं था. It could not have, never have happened. When we started that, it again picked up because music was helping us get listenership. The third part was a change, about which I wrote for a journal also, is that suddenly the profile of the talker or the talent in Radio Kashmir, Srinagar, had a change from 50 to 70 years of age. It changed to 20 to 35 years of age.
Right.
Youngsters started coming in because suddenly certain kind of qualified or so-called intellectuals shied from radio. It gave an opportunity to youngsters, and we encouraged those youngsters. Today all of them are delivering on radio, television, everywhere. Everybody did that. And that was, when you give youth a chance, and then with the chance, you give him an opportunity to speak his mind to you, if not on radio. He becomes open. The youth also come up with ideas which help generate new ideas. As you have experience, they have youth, you put together. It's not that since I have experience, I have all the knowledge. No, by no means. So my interacting with youth, being with them, they also came up, we are going that place, that thing people want to hear.
There were critics who said that Humayun Kaisar Sahab did compromises with the official line, because normally Radio Kashmir Srinagar is associated as something being very official, is the official mouthpiece, and it's almost considered as the gospel. You can't, you have to trade its path. Somebody who turns away, does many innovations, you are termed as somebody who does compromises. How did you take that?
No, because if you say compromising means telling the truth, which I feel is, because I am not in news, or being blunt at times and dismissive or curt on radio on subjects which you should be like that.
Right.
Then I have compromised. Otherwise, I am the person who has least compromised on radio, because I say what I have to say. Be it my sports program, be it my dharkan, be it my counseling, be it my interviews. I say what I feel like, and what I feel, because I am representing society over there, what society feels like. It's not that my own notions. And I study, and then I do a lot of background work before doing something. When I present a live program, when I talk to people, when they email me and then I respond, I am harsh, very harsh at times. I simply dismiss them. When they say
that rejection is needed there.
Oh right, because they say no, nobody is going to listen to us if we try for a job in India or somewhere else. I said, look around, how many of your friends have done it? How did they do it? They had talent. You can't hide behind it.
Do you think that sometimes the term professionalism and nobility, what they call in Urdu muhazzib hona, is just confused at times when you're working for some official channel or official radio like yours?
Well, in our case, you have to be all the time muhazzab and decent. You are not permitted to be indecent to any religion, any personality, any people, any kind of sentiments. That is gospel truth.
But in spite of that, you can bring in innovations. No, they should not be termed what you call compromises.
No, they are different, because innovation is something different, and this is, decency is first and foremost in all India radio. It may not be in private channels, but we cannot talk what they talk like, because we have attained a standard and we want to maintain.
You have to maintain that standard.
And another thing, when we say things on radio, say, speak in Urdu, in Kashmiri, in English, half of the public takes those pronunciations, those sentences as gospel truth, कि ये ज़बान ऐसे ही बोली जाती है.
Right.
So we cannot take liberties of it. And the second part is, every channel in the world has its own restrictions. Every. The so-called independent television in India, they are catering to different parties, definitely. They have their own agendas. We have some famous sports channels. Just, I may have told you this thing before also. International sports channels. Forget what you are supposed to speak. You can't have hair on your face, not even mustache. You have to shave that. It's a rule, cardinal rule there.
Which you have to follow.
You have to follow. They made Ramiz Raja shave his mustache, Ravi Shastri shave his mustache. Don't you think? They have to shave it. They want no hair on face.
ESPN Star Sports.
So every channel has its own restrictions.
But in spite of that, there is the room for creativity. And an artist and a broadcaster needs to be creative.
Oh, he has to be. To survive, he has to be creative. Otherwise, he won't survive. Not at all. Because you can be also Ram, like he is also part of radio. And you could be, he is this person and radio, and works in that radio. Not like anybody else. Because with innovation, you need direction also. Don't do innovations for the sake of innovation. I have to do something different. No. Get an idea, evolve an idea which is different, and you don't know whether it will click or not, but you try. You talked about Dharkan. KBC had started that year, when 2001 I believe.
2001.
I started it in 2002. I thought, why can't we have something on radio similar to it? We can't have similar, because that's a recorded show.
Mediums are different.
And that's a recorded show. and then the lure of 1 crore is too much.
It's too much.
We cannot provide that.
Provide that.
That too in 2001. And then, here I wanted to do something live. Otherwise, a recorded show will not click.
Right.
It's useless.
The charm of it is in
The anxiety is
doing
gone.
it live.
Anxiety is gone. You have to have some kind of anxiety. You make people anxious. What's going to happen next? I started with 24, 12, 6, 3. It won't work. Then I went to pre-quarter final, 16. Because I started with 16 in the opening question. Qualifiers will be 16.
Right.
Quarter final. Quarter final 8, 4, 2, 1. 12 questions and all. So I wrote it down. Then when I showed it to my director, Zia Sahab was director then. So he said, if you feel like doing something, it will be good, I know it. But Delhi has to approve it.
Right.